For months, the Ethiopian government has been accused of attempting to use hunger as a weapon of war, with multiple reports of its soldiers partaking in the deliberate destruction of farmers' production and farming equipment. Today, the African Union is launching a summit under the theme of building resilience in nutrition on the African continent, but may yet again fail to discuss the elephant in the room.
This weekend, the African Union is assembling for its 20th annual summit under the theme Building Resilience in Nutrition on the African Continent. The summit is being held in the home of the African Union, Addis Ababa, where for the past 15 months, the Ethiopian government has taken part in the deliberate destruction of food items, farming equipment, and has been blocking essential humanitarian aid from reaching the millions of people in dire need of humanitarian assistance. On 4 February 2022, Human Rights Watch highlighted that the government of Ethiopia has for 7 months maintained an effective siege in Tigray, preventing millions of people from accessing food, medicine, cash, and fuel. Set aside the man-made famine in Tigray, there are millions of people starving by drought caused due to a failure of rainy season for 3 consecutive years in the lowlands of Oromia, Somali, Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples region, and Afar. According to UNICEF, 6.8 million people in the 4 regions will be in need of urgent humanitarian assistance by mid-March, with over 850,000 children suffering from severe acute malnutrition. In addition to that, around 225,000 malnourished children and over 100,000 pregnant women in need of urgent nutrition support in Oromia and Somalia alone. UNICEF also announced that it needs $31 million to respond to more than 2 million drought-vulnerable people in Afar, Oromia, Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples region, and Somali region, and $382 million to help humanitarian aid reach the millions in need across the country. On January 28, the House of People's Representative approved an additional budget of $2.4 billion, allocating over 74% to military expenditure. Just 1.75% of the budget allocated for military expenditure would have been sufficient to address the needs of the 2 million vulnerable people in lowlands of Ethiopia. More shockingly is that just $382 million would be sufficient to address the overall humanitarian situation in Ethiopia. That would be just 22% of the budget allocated for military expenditure. Despite the devastation that has been caused on millions of Africans across Ethiopia, the African Union has remained mute throughout much of the conflict, failing to hold its host country accountable.